Hello, everybody. I am thinking about calling this News with Ran Part 2 because I am going to just address another request. And this request is brought to you by Stick Hexenhammer 666. Well, he didn't exactly request it, but he did send me the video through DMs, like I was like, oh Sticks, I'm running out of ideas. And then Sticks sent me a link to this thing right here. So I just think that I would address it. And I've seen this kind of shit with the Tyra Banks show. You can see this in talk shows basically with like Jerry Springer and whatnot, because when Tyra Banks brings guests that she doesn't like, it could feel like the Jerry Springer show where you are allowed to yell at the guest, like you could have like a Republican there to talk, but the audience who are politically aligned with Tyra Banks, the audience are allowed to like yell and scream at the guest. It's like people go there to just deal with a heckler's veto. It's like people are just there to just be yelled at, and I don't agree with that at all. And this right here, this is another one of like Tyra Banks tactics. Tyra Banks will pull like the exact same tactic where, like a person could be a lot like pro, pro like children getting trans surgery. Like let's just say there is an argument of whether or not like like a 13-year-old should be getting like puberty blockers or whatnot. Sarah Banks would have like three, professional psychologists, and then, pair that up with like a plebeian or a commoner, So it's like the commoner's not like, and she would also get like the dumbest commoner ever. Like Tara Banks she would deliberately hunt for like stupid people for like a right swing position. So if a person is anti-trans or whatever, she would like get the dumbest, stupidest anti-trans person like ever. She's not going to get like people like Jordan Peterson, or she's not going to get like, she's not going to get doctors or a professional who's like who could articulate their positions really well. No, no, no. Sarah Banks, she hunts for people who are outright dumb, and it is clearly obvious, especially like if you watch YouTube videos. If you watch YouTube videos, it is definitely clear that Sarah Banks, she would just look for the dumbest person ever to articulate, like a position like, why 5-year-olds shouldn't be put on puberty blockers. And then she would pair that up with like, psychologists, that agree with her, top notch, big name psychologists that agree with her. And they are doing the exact same tactic. They have like this, Republican there, and then they have like a policeman there. So it's like, hey, 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 this policeman says it, and he knows what he's talking about. And what do you know? You are not a police officer. When should be told, most police officers are actually right wing. People who are part of the police or the military, they actually tend to vote right. So, he is pretty much an anomaly because I mean you go and talk to pretty much any police officer. They're like blue lives matter, and they are sick and tired of how the left wing media portrays them as having nothing better to do than to, kill black people. It's like racist white cop, kills black person. Oh my goodness, evil racist white cop kills innocent unarmed black person. But yet cops are the only ones, who are allowed to have guns, you know. And it's really weird because the left, they would say that, cops are racist, cops hates black people so much, and cops, they hate, and there is a huge problem. There is a huge problem with racism in the police departments. But, oh yeah, by the way, black people, racist white cops should be the only people allowed to have guns. You know, wouldn't that make you anti-black, Dan? Doesn't that make you anti-black? And wouldn't that make you racist against black people if you want racist white cops to be the only group of people to be allowed to have guns? I'm just saying, you suddenly love cops, with the idea of banning guns, or, I mean, the only left wing position that is logically consistent is that let black people keep guns. Just let black people get guns and white people can't have guns. I mean, it's not egalitarian. However, it is at least logically consistent. But when it comes to guns, I am actually pro the Second Amendment. I believe that people should, have guns, and I do not like the idea of guns being taken away because in Venezuela, they are turning the guns to the citizens. And when you take guns away, for example, in Mexico, Mexico has very strict gun laws, and there is only one gun store in all of Mexico, strict gun laws, and yet they have a huge gun problem. So even like laws doesn't really help anything. Laws doesn't change anything. At least for America, the way you resolve a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Because sure, Japan is safe, and Japan doesn't have any guns. However, Japan is an isolated island. It's an island nation. So yeah, an isolated island would do a good job at keeping the guns out. Or the UK. I mean, the UK is basically like an island. So, like, if you were to take all the guns out of the UK, well, you just got all the guns out of an island. So, like, yeah, there's that. But America is a huge country. There are people out there who've been made their own guns from scratch because people can't do that. People can Google or Bing or DuckDuckGo how to make your own gun by scratch and do that. And I already have a friend who did that, by the way. I met him through YouTube, and like he made a YouTube video on how to make a gun from scratch. And he like bought like a bunch of different parts, and he now has his own gun from scratch. So even if like the government did want to like buy away all the guns, he still has a gun that he made himself. So I am just going to go. Let's just keep the guns here and just have good people with guns and just Emmy and Modwayne talked about this. We were talking about solutions to gun violence, and what we came up with, or at least the thoughts that got brought up, is to let your aggression out in healthy ways. Is to let kids do wrestling, like kids who have a lot of built-in aggression. Let people let that aggression out through like wrestling, through dodgeball, through boxing, through video games. And if you get all of your aggression out on video games or boxing or wrestling, then there's a good chance that you are not going to have your aggression out on another person. So, yeah. Um, if you are to the left and you just want to use a cop and the word of a cop, like a word of a sheriff, as a reason why, why nobody should have guns and why we should get rid of all the guns, then I just want you to just take this time out to like remember all of the unarmed black men who've got killed by the police and just let their families know that you want the police, the racist cops, to be the only group of people to be allowed to have guns. Um, this has been Ren Michaelis, and I am going to work on parts three-ish. Should I call it part three? Or because I do think I want to just do like more news stories after this. Just talk about, what is in the news. Maybe I should just do, you know, because a lot of things happened during the week. So I'm just thinking about covering more news stories because, I mean, it's something to do. Anyway, this has been Rena Michaelis. You have watched part two of News with Ran. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm thinking about doing part three. Bye.